Have you ever thought yourself into a corner? So many thoughts racing, scenarios, doubts, regrets, and suddenly you're paralyzed, not by reality, but by your own mind. Here's the unsettling truth. Your brain, the most sophisticated tool in existence, can also be your most dangerous enemy, especially when it refuses to shut up. We glorify thinking. We praise those who are reflective, analytical, deep. But what happens when thought becomes obsession, when clarity drowns in a sea of what-ifs and maybes? Overthinking wears a mask of intelligence, but behind it lies fear, insecurity, and an exhausting loop of self-sabotage. It's a slow burn. You don't realize it's happening until you're lost in it. You're replaying that one conversation from 3 days ago, rewriting your responses in your head, imagining how the other person might have perceived you. You feel clever, insightful even. But inside you're stuck, frozen by thoughts that lead nowhere. Overthinking is a modern epidemic. In the age of hyper-information, we're taught to weigh every option, consider every angle, calculate every risk. But ancient philosophers warned us of this very trap. The Stoics believed that peace comes from accepting what you can't control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." So, what happens when your mind is consumed by fear, disguised as logic? Psychologists call it rumination, the endless replaying of distressing thoughts. And it's not harmless. Studies show that chronic overthinking is linked to depression, anxiety, insomnia. It literally reshapes your brain. The amygdala, the fear center, gets stronger. Your prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, starts to stutter. You're not just thinking more, you're thinking worse. Let's rewind time. In the 1800s, Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard described anxiety as the dizziness of freedom. Too many choices, too much possibility. It overwhelms the human soul. Sound familiar? In today's world, we're paralyzed not by lack of options, but by the sheer volume of them. You scroll through 5 dating apps, hundreds of job postings, dozens of self-help articles, and still feel stuck. Because more information doesn't equal better understanding. Here's the paradox. Overthinkers are often intelligent, sensitive, self-aware. But those very strengths can become weaknesses when unchecked. Your mind becomes a mirror house, every reflection leading to another, and another, and another, until you lose track of what's real. You become addicted to analysis, chasing certainty that doesn't exist. Consider the story of Hamlet, Shakespeare's tortured prince. Brilliant, thoughtful, deep. But he's also indecisive to the point of madness. His endless contemplation of revenge, morality, mortality. It doesn't lead to wisdom. It leads to tragedy. He becomes a prisoner of his own intellect. His mind becomes the battlefield where he loses. Now, zoom out and look around. You know someone like Hamlet. Maybe it's you, a person who rehearses every decision, who needs every answer, who fears mistakes so deeply that they end up doing nothing. And here's the kicker. Inaction is an action. It has consequences. Life doesn't wait for you to figure it all out. The brain craves resolution. When left incomplete, when we're unsure, when outcomes are unknown, it spirals. This is called the Zeigarnik Effect. Your mind clings to unfinished thoughts like open tabs in a browser you never close. The problem? The more tabs you leave open, the slower your system runs. Eventually, it crashes. Overthinking feels safe. You believe you're preparing, protecting yourself. But most of the time, you're just postponing reality. You're not planning, you're procrastinating. You're not cautious, you're scared. And fear loves the disguise of logic. There's a reason meditation has existed for thousands of years across cultures. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like a wild monkey, constantly leaping from branch to branch, thought to thought. The goal is not to fight the monkey, but to observe it, to realize, I am not my thoughts. I am the observer of my thoughts. But let's be honest, that's hard because overthinking is seductive. It gives the illusion of control. You feel like you're doing something by thinking about it over and over, but you're not. You're circling the same drain. And in those quiet moments, when the world slows down and there's nothing to distract you, your mind becomes loud, deafening, and it says things you wouldn't say to your worst enemy. You're not enough. You'll fail. They don't really like you. What if it all falls apart? Those thoughts aren't truths. They're echoes of old wounds, fragments of fear and trauma dressed up as insight. Let me ask you something. When was the last time overthinking actually helped you? When did replaying that conversation solve anything? When did imagining worst-case scenarios make you feel better? Thought without action becomes poison, and the mind, left unattended, becomes a master of distortion. Think of a knife. Sharp, precise, useful. But in the wrong hands, it's dangerous. The mind is the same. It can cut through delusion, or it can cut you to pieces. Here's the good news. You can train your mind. You don't have to silence it. Just don't worship it. You can learn to pause the spiral, recognize the loop, breathe, return to the body, feel the chair under you, the air in your lungs, the present moment. Because the mind rarely lives here. It's always time traveling, regretting the past or fearing the future. But the body lives in now. You don't need all the answers. You never will. No one does. Life is inherently uncertain. That's not a bug, it's a feature. Because uncertainty means possibility, mystery, growth. The more you try to control your thoughts, the more they control you. Freedom begins when you stop believing every thought you think. There's power in letting go, in saying, I don't know, and that's okay. So, if your mind is running in circles right now, stop. Notice it. Don't judge it, but don't follow it either. You're not a slave to your thoughts. You're their master, or you can be. The question is, will you choose to be? Because in the end, overthinking doesn't protect you from pain. It just guarantees a slower kind. So take the step, make the choice, say the thing, start the project, let go of the loop. Trust yourself just enough to begin. And if this spoke to something deep in you, some hidden part that's tired of carrying the weight of constant thought, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video. Share it with someone who overthinks as much as you do. Subscribe for more truths like this, and drop a comment below answering one question. What's one thought you're ready to let go of? Right now. Your mind will try to answer. Let your soul respond.